Hey guys, it's me, Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy, but I'm also your collector guy, Gary Lee Stanley. And this is part two. Not too long ago, I was real fortunate. I went through one of my barns that I have on my property, and I hadn't looked in the barn for a long time, and I found some cool comic books, a collection, a whole lot of them. And I'm able to share it with you today, guys. I'm just going to give you a high five. I've been working on it for the last few months. When you live by yourself, you can kind of as a nerd like I am, you can kind of put your comic books in different locations and places. And I have now been able to put them together to be able to have a lot of quality ones. And I'm just going to say, guys, sometimes you get real fortunate and you get real blessed. Now, these came out of these two containers, actually these three containers, and these comic books were given to me probably close to about 20 years ago from a gentleman that used to sell comic books and all kinds of other cool stuff, out at Jacksonville Beach and up north and stuff. And he came to me because I had a kid and I was, taking care of my kid. I guess he saw something in me. And one day he says, hey, I got a bunch of these boxes. Now I got some more that are put away and still in my barn, but I'm going to go back and look at those. And let me just point out some cool stuff real quick, which I found in these. It's a treasure chest. That's just a trove, a treasure chest. And remember, guys, when you're looking at comic books, you'll definitely want to get you some tools, some really nice, opportunities to be able to visually see your comic books if you're visually impaired. You definitely want to have your tools that are available to you, just to be able to do some research. Sometimes you have different collections and stuff, but you want to see different things a little bit closer. There are tools that you can get. Now, some of these tools, I had the gentleman, I've got more of these books that are just like these that will give you information about, pricing and how much they cost. This is a 31st anniversary one, but that's what I got with it. It was like, oh my gosh, man. And I didn't look at these because I was raising my son for a year, and he got into the anime stuff, so they were in the back. Now, he did, like the Mummy's Tomb, go through some of them and sold them a few years back so he could have some cash. You know how kids are. But I got real fortunate, and like I said, here's some cool ones, guys. See, when I was a young kid, they used to have this movie called The Planet of the Apes. It was really, really, really cool. So I came across some of these that were from the late 60s, early 70s. And some of these comic books that I have also, they have like the Tarzan. They got all different age groups, and I'm going through these and I'm putting them in order. Some of the graphics on these are just amazing. I'm just saying, guys. So I got real fortunate. And some people may say, well, how much are they worth? I really don't know. And the reason why is because, like I said, I'm a nerd and I collect stuff. And this was like, oh my gosh, a dream come true to be able to have stuff. Look at that, guys. This is like really old. And this is back in the late 60s, late 60s, 50s. I don't know. I'm going to have to look inside. But I got all of these different ones. Superheroes were Tarzan and stuff when I was growing up. And here's some ones that I thought were really cool, too. We're going to go through some of these later and look at them. I got a whole collection of different types of haunted, scary type comic books. I'm just saying, guys, all different kinds of old ass comic books. Now, these were scary ones, guys, like little storybooks, comic books, graphic novels. And some of these were from the 60s, and I got some even further stuff from back in the 50s. So what I'm sharing with you guys, if you're out there and you're nice to people, sometimes they'll be nice to you. I guess because the dude saw that I had a kid and he didn't want to have to keep taking care of that stuff. He was an old dude. He was like me, sometimes you got to give it away to keep it. And also check it out, military ones. I've still got a whole bunch of military ones, guys. Now, we haven't even started looking at the basic superhero ones. Now, I've got more tubs of stuff that were over 70 years old, 80 years old stuff, bro. Some of this stuff is from the 90s, early 2000s comics. I mean, Jurassic Park 1 and just these, some of these are from when I was a little kid, comic books, guys. And I was able to collect these, but some of these, like I said, I had to put them in categories, and I'm still categorizing because you do have your different kinds, because you do have your DC and you have your Marvel comics. But what I like about comics is that they have genres too, different types of comics. So I kind of put those together too. Mad magazines. Keep your little covers for all your stuff, guys. And these are some things that I got to collect, just saying so far. And superhero stuff that I haven't even looked through. Stuff that's just, oh my gosh, guys, it's just amazing. I don't know. I'm just saying. And if you want to get real cool, I have a whole collection. And this thing right here, it says a person who collects comic books is called it's spelled PANNAPICTAGRAPHIST. I guess that's Panapictographist. However, this is very specific and rarely used term. More commonly used and informal terms include comic book collector, that's what we are, and comic book fans or comic book enthusiasts. If you like comic books, you're enthusiastic about them. Comic book geek, okay, I'm a nerd. I started looking at these magazines when I was a little kid and got enamored about the guy that was in there, got sand kicked in his face, and he started working out and taking up. So I started doing that. So I'm a nerd, but I like to work out and train too. Also, it says comic book fans, enthusiasts, comic book geek. It says they have a thing called a Wednesday Warrior, is a fan who buys new comic books from their local shop on release day, which is typically on Wednesday. Okay, I never knew that. And some avid collectors are called slab heads by other fans, and that's based on the plastic in the book and the white material that it's got, the backing. Now, you can go through this and you can get all kinds of great information. So I'm just sharing with you today, guys. I got a chance. Check these out, guys. These are almost like brand spanking new comic books, guys. I'm going to do another video. And I'm just saying, I started putting them in order and I started thanking God. Because when I was a kid, I always wanted to have comic books. And I was so fortunate that I got a chance to get these. My son, he really wasn't interested, but I am. I've always been interested in comic books, and I got a chance to do some collecting. I'll go through all these at another day, and we'll sit here and we'll look at all the different types of comic books that are available. And I got these. I had them in my barn for almost 20 years. I think I may have looked at them or saw them in a plastic bin and moved them around about 12 or 15 years ago. And then something gave me a wild hair. I walked out there and wanted to clean it up. I said, oh man, check out all these comic books. I forgot about them. And that's what I got. This is what my collection looks like. And these are pristine. They're brand new. It's like, man, I don't know what to say. I'm just real fortunate, and I just need to go through them. I got my tools. I can do more research because you can do a lot more online now. But there are new comic books that are being made all the time. If you're into comics, I'm a nerd, so I like all kinds of literature, comics, and I'm a collector. Also on this channel, they call me Your Collector Guy, and my name is Your Collector Guy, Gary Lee Stanley. I do collect little things here and there, coins, rocks, stamps, and pretty things that make me go, wow, I like that. And when you have the opportunity to become a collector, you start after, at first you just start, and then you start after year, starting to see cool stuff. And that's what I've been able to do as a collector. I collect, like I said, stamps, rocks. I also I have been collecting these different types of cards. And we're going to have a video here shortly about the cards that I bought off of eBay years ago. Some other ways that I got cards, because I thought my son would be really, really interested in it, but I'm really the one I bought them for. I ain't gonna lie, guys. And today we got a chance to talk about collecting, comic books. Man, look at that cover on that. I mean, that is scary as all get-go as a military. And I've got a whole bunch of these. And it's like, these are graphic novels. They're just like brand spanking new. It's like history. Check that out, bro. I'm just saying. And, when you get a chance to do something nice for somebody, remember, if somebody gives you a collection of coins, stamps, rocks, comic books, graphic novels, before you go try to sell them and get rid of them, some of those, like these comic books that I have, are 50 years old, 60, 70, and I've got some that are pretty doggone old. And if you are a collector or somebody who looks at value, it's art. Keep the collection for a while before you sell it. Start doing some research. But if you're a person who's looking to want to start collecting comics, you can go to your local library like they have here in Jacksonville, and you can look at comic books, graphic novels. You can look at all of these different types of comic books. But the ones that I have here, guys, they don't sell anymore. So when you start collecting comic books, get something that you enjoy. Because to me, I look at them, and sometimes, like I said, they've been sitting on my table. They were all over the place in the house, all scattered all over. But I started putting a piece together, because I love collecting comic books. And like I told you the story before, when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of money. Mom and Dad, they worked real hard, and I had to work. We used to work in the fields and stuff. We didn't have a lot of money, but we always had a big old smile. And I used to go to the store and see comic books, and I'd be like, oh man, one day. And then I see the ones that showed them with the bodybuilders working out and stuff, and I got, ooh, I like that. And so like I said, one day, I'd like to get me some comic books. So I had a couple, but like I said, I got so blessed, man. Dude, he was so nice. I got to thank him so much for, giving me an opportunity to really be able to take advantage and have some really amazing reading material. Plus, I could sell them, but I don't want to do that, man. I'm going to be like Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory. You know who those guys are, a bunch of nerds, and they collect their comic books, and that's what I do. And I'm putting them in a nice, safe place where they can be viewed. But some of them are going to be hanging because they're just like beautiful art. And like I said, some of these guys, like I said, I got some of these scary ones. It's like haunted house ones. It's like, man, people love their genres of their different types of comic books. You've got people that are just total DC. You've got some people that they love their military stuff. They have something, their niche that they're interested in. I mean, it's just amazing what you can do when you're a collector and you're contemplating collecting like comic books, stamps, rocks. And I've got, like I said, I've started categorizing some of these with the DC and the, separation. And then some of these are, Marvel. So they're different and they are beautiful. They're so amazing. That's like one of my favorites. Supergirl and Wonder Woman. Two of my favorite superheroes that I really like a lot. And I just love all the cool superheroes. They're all amazing. And today we just had a wonderful time sharing about, collecting. If you get a chance, you can go to your local libraries. They got all the books and all kinds of educational materials to help you. And one day, if you get fortunate, you can start purchasing your own comic books. Just one at a time, get something really nice. Some people, they're looking for that one that's worth $1 million. But for me, just the collecting of it through my life, I'm a 60-year-old now, and I've been collecting all kinds of cool stuff over the years. And one of the cool things that I got a chance was God blessed me with some cool comic books. So guys, if you're a comic book collector, welcome to my world. If you like to work out, these guys, look guys, you can sit around and lay down and do all kinds of stuff looking at your comic books. But these are superheroes, and the way they were superheroes is they take care of themselves. They work out, they run, they do all these amazing things. So just because you are a nerd like I am, you need to take care of health. Look at these superheroes, guys. Take on that. Get your gun show on, work out, put your smiles on, and go to work and have a good day. My name is Gary Lee Stanley. I'm your sales guy. You can check out some of my other cool cool shows. You can check out my, I have a nice real estate channel called Your Happy Realtor. Okay. And that's how it is. Your Happy Realtor. Okay. And you can Google me, Gary Lee Stanley. You can see all the other things that I'm involved in. But today I am who? I am your collector guy, Gary Lee Stanley. And today we got a cool opportunity to look at a cool collection, part two, what I got. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through these comic books to see what kind of treasures I got. Okay. Have a wonderful day, guys. Go out there and be the nerd that you can be. Get your gun show on. Use your mind. Get your knowledge. Be green and growing, not ripe and rotting. And if you like comic books and graphic novels, it's cool. Collect some. Okay. Take care of them. And books, man, they'll be like, oh, man, where'd you get those? All right.